Wow, look at the size of this basement. If someone back home wanted...
That's far enough. What are you doing? You're in my house, and Hagen.
That's a gentlewomanly way of putting it, Cap.
This is utter nonsense. I've never... What happened to the... Small consolation. We were trying to prove that the colony could survive the crisis bearing...
What are you doing, Doctor? This information is beyond classified.
You can write me up in your report. It hardly matters. I'm researching a new way to feed the colony. The crops we transplanted from Earth don't give us the nutrients we need. Our colonists might not realize it yet, but they're starving. Then you know how I believed that I could adapt humans to live on Halcyon's terms. That I could change us. Give us the ability to derive sustenance from the new... Look around. We're the only intelligent... Not for lack of trying. There are other teams. We didn't want to experiment on human test subjects, so we used the only reason...
So you doomed the greater good for the...
I'm desperate. I've already asked all the best institutes on Earth. It's been missing for over 2 years now. They never re-established contact after the skip to Earth. Of course,
I can certainly
How'd you lose half a pair of shit?
the board is uneasy about letting the colony know. Exactly. If colonists know we can't feed them or... Once we can replicate a success, the board will move to rewire our nucleon. With any luck, our
You really think the board got our best interests at heart?
Progress is the future.
We haven't made enough strides to advance the plan. You came to kill me. I assume that's so... If I die, there's no one who can reproduce our work. The one on the wanted posters? I'll do it.
Doctor!
What choice do I... If working can For now, I'd better pack up the lab.
Not so fast. Captain, what you just learned is beyond your clearance. Hell, it's beyond mine. Give me one Wrong answer.
Halt.
Huh?
Searching for unauthorized...
I hope Dr. Wells has the resources to handle this project.
Why was I built to feel ennui? Captain, I wish to offer my commendations for convincing the UDL's gunship to leave HRS-1084. I did not face... Destination reached. I believe your choice to spare Chartrand would be considered the honorable path, yes? Sublight's money is inconsequential in the face of ethics.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a Technically, I owe you an exit interview. You're awfully quick to trust someone who offed her colleague. Out of my office.
You think maybe she's got an itchy trigger?
What a surprise.
Don't mess with us!
Good, you're back. Not that I missed you. I assure you, I am not capable of such emotion. No capacity. I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to executions, are as follows. The interior can be chilly. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me. I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain unless you do not return within 876,541,652 hours. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crime. I wager it'll take a bit longer than it takes you to lose your patience and storm out of your ship looking to get shot. To be honest, that'd make my job a lot easier. You come out, we shoot you full of holes, and then everyone goes up. Protocol is important. The sentencing of one crime does not. Tartarus docking authority signing up. Hang on. Looks like you're gonna have company at the execution. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that, just have a...
Transmission terminated. How can I be? Goodbye. Remember that you are not insured.
The captain did right by us once.
What was
Now
that?
it's our turn. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I'm reigning. Push on, Murdoch.
Need trash like better take a look. Waste of my time. What's that noise? Open fire!
I'm not too keen on walking into a prison. They lock me up, I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out.
Entering the labyrinth's the easy part. Making it back out. I'm still trusting your plan on that one, Captain. I suppose it would be too late to back out now, huh? Fear not, Captain. I'll watch your back.
Unexpected noise identified. Investigating.
What was that?
Something's
they
not.
come.
Space shines on us today. Well done. We're still alive. Get in there! We're not getting through!
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you...
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron.
And the convict. The vicar. You know,
Oh, I would go anywhere to...
when you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to... My word! You... It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person.
You won't get any mercy. Incoming!
That's the last of them. Nice. Calm before the storm and all that.
Everything in my life has been leading up to this point. I'm ready.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've... Typical. Running your mouth in the middle. My reports described you as one of Halcyon's... I should have dealt with you a long time. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his... I'm aware of your propensity for violence. I take no pleasure in this. Leaving you alive... This prison... And don't worry.
Why won't you just die?
Air test. Our survival.
You don't know how you did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own... Oh, you've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony. You and I are going to have to work. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way.
So we've got to make do on our own.
You're quite right. We've got...
First the food supply, and now this.
You're experiencing a crisis of faith, Priest. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this... Yes, we do. You've done... We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the hope we're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person. I can't tell... When I revived you, we can't save Halcyon. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection...
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of his board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Left unchecked, the war on Monarch consumed both MSI and the Iconoclasts. And when the sulfur cloud settled, only stragglers from both factions remained. Some found their way to Sublight, some to Terra 2, and some lived their final years fighting for food in the wilderness. In the end, only the beasts remained. Without Lilia Hagen, Sublight Salvage fell apart. The company fractured, evolving into a series of unregulated criminal gangs, fences, and smugglers. Their facade of legit was forgotten. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. After all he'd seen and heard adventuring with you, the Vic joined the effort to rebuild the colony. Ironically, he finally found the joy that had eluded him over the course of his life, and realized that perhaps he was always meant to be just a simple laborer after all. He quickly dismissed the idea. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. She seemed to prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself, of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. It was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and all we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.